Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm coming at you with an interesting video. Today I want to teach you a specific rappelling technique that I like to use. This is a technique that I refer to as a spider rappel. Stay with me. I hope you enjoy the video. Okay folks, in my hand you can see that I have a few things. I have two locking carabiners. See, I have a red one and I have a black one. I have a small piece of rope, and this is about 6mm diameter rope, and I have it tied together in a double fisherman's knot, and this is going to be used as a prussik. I also have a piece of webbing. This is 1-inch tubular webbing, and the length of my webbing and the length of my rope is about the length of my elbow to my wrist. Okay, so about, if I look at my elbow to my wrist, that's the approximate length of the webbing and the prussik loop. Okay, so again, two locking carabiners. Now, the last thing that you see is a belay device. Now, anything like your ATCs, things like that, your figure of 8, any of those types of devices can be used. With this technique though, unfortunately you can't use a device such as a gree-gree. So to get started, the first thing I want to do is, you can see that I have my rope already down the edge of the cliff here. I'm going to take my SBG2, and you can see that one side of it is V'd. That would be for like real heavy applications, and you can see that the other side has like little U's. It's a little bit rounded. This is the side that we're going to use. It's a little bit faster and it's a little more light duty. So what I want to do is I want to pull the rope up a little bit, and I want to make two small bites or pinches in the rope. Now the rope that's going down to the ground is going to be my break end of my rope. So when I insert the rope into the device, the rope again that's going down to the ground, you see here, that is my break hand. Okay, so you can see that my break hand is going to be on the rounded side of the device. Okay, so now you're probably wondering, what does all this do? Why do I need two lockers? Why do I need webbing? Why do I need a prussik? Well, I'm going to start with this first locker. Okay, what this does is I'm going to put this into the device, and this would be reminiscent of some sort of trad climbing belay setup. This is very, very reminiscent of that. Now, what I want to do with the webbing is I want to insert the webbing into my locker, and the objective of putting that in is to make an extension from my belay loop to my belay device. So what I'm going to do is I'm just basically going to run this through, and I'm going to come back up and clip in. Okay, so now I'm extended. I've got a little bit more distance between my belay loop and my belay device. Now you're probably wondering, what about this other locker, and more specifically, what about this little 6mm rope? This other locker, you can see on my leg loop right here. I'm going to go ahead and put that right there on my leg loop. Okay, now I'm going to step over the rope just like this, and on the break hand side of the operation, I'm going to make a prussik around the rope, which is 2 lark's foots or 2 lark's heads around the rope. I want to make sure that I dress the knot nice and clean, and I'm going to clip, let me move those out of the way to avoid confusion. I want to clip the prussik knot into my locking carabiner again, which is locked into my leg loop. Now what this is going to do is, when I lean back on the rope, it extends, because of this webbing, it extends my belay device from the prussik. It doesn't let the prussik get up into this area. So what happens is, as I'm belaying, if I was to, maybe a rock falls and hits me on the head or something happens, this prussik will grab and act as my brake. Okay, if this device was real close right here, it wouldn't, because the prussik would come up into this area right here and it would just nullify, and I would just keep slipping down the rope. Now you're probably wondering, why doesn't this guy have gloves on? For two reasons I don't have gloves. One is I'm doubling down the rope, and it's not a very long rappel, and there's a ton of friction on this type of rappel. Plus I have a prussik to help me stop. So I'm going to slowly loosen my prussik, and I'm going to start walking down very mildly down this cliff. And again, you can see if I let go of my hands, look, the prussik grabs the brake hand. And there might be some of you out there thinking, well, what if you get knocked unconscious? Is that prussik gonna be strong enough to hold you? And the answer to that question is yes. The prussik, I'm gonna readjust this real quick. The prussik does not have to be like gorilla strong, because all it's doing is applying a brake for you. It's not taking the full blunt of your weight. It's only acting as a brake. And so therefore it's much easier for it to grab. It doesn't need to have a ton of weight on it. Now you can see this little groove right here. I want to kind of aim my rope so that it'll go right down into that little groove, just like that. And I'm just going to walk down this rock. Now if I take a minute and I stop and I look down, you can see that I've got quite a ways to go. There's water down there. I want to go see what's down there. So I'm just kind of wrapping my way down. The objective, again, of this technique is to, if I was to fall or something was to happen, this is going to grab as my brake. If I get knocked unconscious, that's the same as me having my brake hand there. It's a very slow technique, but it's a very efficient technique. Now, one thing that I want to mention is there's no need for gloves, again, because of a couple reasons. This isn't a very hard rappel. It's not a very long rappel. And I'm doubling the rope, so there's not much friction. I mean, excuse me, there's a ton of friction. Now, anytime I find a rock or something like that, say the word rock as I throw it down. Rock. Now, you're probably wondering, why can't you use like a Jumar Ascender or something? Well, Jumars, they're not multi-directional like this prussik knot is. This prussik knot works really well. I'm just walking down the wall. If I was to stop, look, hands free, it grabs for me. Nothing to worry about. Do I want to trust it and depend on it? No, I don't want to depend on it, but yes, I want to trust it. I'm just coming down. Now you're probably wondering, what's it going to wear out? Is it going to wear out anything? Yes, over time you're going to wear out the prussik knot, which is this thin rope, and it's going to wear that out before it'll wear this rope out. So that's kind of what we want. We want to wear out the smaller rope, which is cheaper to replace than the larger rope, which is a lot less cheap. It's more expensive to replace that big old rope. I just went over a roof. Look at that. My prussik is holding like a champ. It's a kind of a lot of work to do it this way, but nonetheless it works good. And the secret really is just keeping it loose. And then again, you can drop at any moment and it'll catch for you, but you don't want to get dependent on it. You want to know it's there, but you don't want to rely on it. You don't want to depend on it. It's just there in case you need it. Look at that, how easy it is. I'm just here, boom, it grabs. So there you go. That, my friends, is the spider rappel using a prussik knot and a piece of webbing to extend your gear out. Hope you enjoyed the video.